Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here coming at you from the Knife Center, and we're taking a look today at some of the best pocket fixed blades that you can use for everyday carry. Let's check them out. So there's actually plenty of reasons to want to carry a fixed blade as your primary EDC versus something like a folder, which is what everybody carries. For one thing, they're extremely reliable since there's no moving parts to wear out or break or anything like that. They're also generally easier to keep clean than a folder, which is especially important if you're going to use your everyday carry for any kind of food prep as well. But I think the major impediment for more people wanting to carry a fixed blade every day is they don't want to be carrying a sheath on their belt. I certainly don't want to be schlepping around, especially in downtown areas, with a highly visible sheath like that. Now, of course, there are neck knives, but they present their own sort of disadvantages as well. What we really need is an effective way to pocket carry a fixed blade. And thankfully, there's some pretty good options out there. And you might not even need to buy a new knife, actually. A lot of neck knives, their sheaths are gonna work for pocket carry if you add just one of these two accessories that I'm gonna show you right here at the front. The first of which is an ULTICLIP. These run about 12 bucks. There's a bunch of different sizes. This one right here is the slim version. And you've essentially got two slots here that most sheaths that come with any kind of rivet holes, you're gonna be able to attach at least 2 points onto this ULTICLIP and transform it into a pocket sheath. Now you may need to bring your own hardware because there isn't any attachment hardware included with an ULTICLIP, but that's a much smaller hurdle. But these things are pretty cool. You've got a small metal tab here. Simply pop that open and you kind of release the tension on this J hook underneath. Slide that into your pocket, stick the hem of your pocket through those two sections, torque it down, and then that sheath is fixed in place. It's not going anywhere. You can also use the Mummert titanium clips, which are out there. And these guys are about 20 bucks, made of titanium, like the name, like is in the name. And a couple of different finishes. There's a stone wash as well as a flame finish. And similarly to that ULTICLIP, we've got a slotted section here at the top so that the hardware that is included in this case can fit a wide range of different sheaths. And this is how it looks when attached to a sheath. This is actually one of the older versions. The new Gen 2s have that slot, but you can see how it looks when attached, and you can see that flamed finish as well. So another really great option for converting potentially the neck knife you already have into a pocket fixed blade. But the first knife proper that I'm going to show you is from Viper over there in Maniago, Italy, and we've got the Berus or Berus Model 1 and Model 2 with the two different blade shapes. Got that drop point here and the worn clip, or sorry, more like a sheep's foot here at the top, which that sheep's foot especially I think makes a fantastic everyday utility box cutter, hard working knife in a fairly small package. They start at about 130 bucks for these micarta versions, a little bit more for the carbon fiber if you want that. But you've got M390 steel, just under 2.5 inches of blade length, and these are very sturdy guys for some heavier work. Decent amount of thickness, as you can see, but we've still got a pretty wide profile with a full flat grind. It's going to help its slicing capabilities a bit, and it feels really good in the hand. Even though it's a 3.5 finger grip for my hands, which are slightly larger than average, you can get a good kind of grip on it for some heavier cuts. As far as the sheaths on these guys, it is Kydex, and it comes with an ULTICLIP installed right there, as you can see. So it's gonna nestle right in about that deep in the pocket. You'll be able to get that knife in and out without too much trouble. If you do want it to carry deeper though, you can always move these ULTICLIPs to a slightly higher position. You do have some more rivets here after all, and that's going to carry it a little bit lower in your pocket so you just have less of that handle sticking out, but it's still going to be easy to grasp and put to work. This next one is a bit more premium in its materials. We've got the Benchmade Hidden Canyon Hunter in the Select Edge variant, which is the higher end version, comes in about $195. Now there are two versions of this. There is a less expensive version, but that one comes with a leather sheath. So if you want to pocket carry this design, but you don't want to spend this much money, it's not going to be as big a difference because you'd have to get a custom sheath made for that other one, custom Kydex or something like that, in order to pocket carry it. But this really cool little design, about the same dimensions as that Berus, slightly longer, a little bit more blade itself, coming in about 2.8 right now, S90V in this case, which especially on a thinner EDC like this, it is a nice thin blade. Really going to be able to take advantage of that long edge holding, especially combined with the very thin 14-degree bevel they put on this knife as well. They call that their select edge technology. On the back side, you've got some nice rich light handles with a pop of orange for the liners there. Nice feel in the hand as well. And the sheath on this guy is Kydex, or actually it might be Bolteron. It is Bolteron. And you are going to need to supply or bring a tech lock, but this is a perfect one with these angled pieces, or the angled rivets here on the end. Perfect one for kind of burying that lock or that ULTICLIP a little bit higher up to bury the sheath in the pocket. And then you've got that nice flare out on the edges of that sheath there. So when you're going to resheath it, it's gonna find its home very easily when you're done using the knife. All right, the next one is considerably cheaper. Maybe a little big for most folks, but I did want to mention this one. This is the K-Bar wrench knife, coming in about 42 bucks right now. Now this is an integrally constructed knife. It's actually drop forged from a 425 stainless. Decent amount of toughness going on, decent amount of thickness there with a nice hollow grind in this case. Gonna make another good everyday utility. And not, like I said, a little bit bigger, but the sheath itself is fairly compact. It's not quite as broad or wide as the previous knife we looked at. So this is another one, when you combine it with that ULTICLIP, it might not be as bulky as it seems. It's not bulky, but you get my meaning. And then when that's sticking out of your pocket, doesn't really scream knife. People might think you're a weirdo for carrying a wrench in your pocket, but you know, that's the trade-off, I guess. But they're really cool knives. You can get a lot of work done with these for sure. For a smaller sized knife, we're gonna look to ESEE, and their Azula series actually makes a really good pocket fixed blade, but I wanna focus on the even smaller Candiru that I've got right here. These start at about 60 bucks. 1095 carbon steel, made in the USA. Not all of them are purple like this one. I understand a lot of you folks aren't gonna like that bright color, but you can get more muted colors. But I wanted to pull the purple because there's something about pairing it up with the optional scales in orange that just, it kind of cracks me up. I think that's actually kind of a fantastic color combo going on there for what it is. But that's one of the great things about this series is you have the option to carry it with or without a set of scales. So you can go for more girth or a more thin cross section overall when in the hand. But it's a really nice little drop point profile in any case. Only about 2 inches long, but it's a really great shape. Now the sheaths on these guys are hard plastic, and they are compatible with the ULTICLIPs or those Mummert clips, but they actually come with their very own clip plate, which does screw on here. It does have the attachment hardware included. So you actually get a pocket clip there built in. Pocket clip or belt clip, actually. It's gonna work really nicely on either because you've got a bit of a J-hook type of style there. Not a complete J, but you do have a bit of retention there on the bottom side of the spring. It's got some nice flex, or not a lot of flex to it, nice rigid amount of flex. So it's gonna work really great in either of those uses. And these have all been some really good utility shapes, but there are folks who are gonna appreciate being able to carry some tactical options this way as well. And of course, a lot of folks like to carry a karambit. And one of my favorite options that can be used in the pocket is the Bastinelli PiKa, which comes in about 140 right now. Good little size. Blade itself is only about 1.6 inches. It's N690 steel, but you do have a full size handle here. I can fit all of my fingers on there, no problem. So you've got a solid grip. It's not one of these like tiny pocket karambits that we do see from time to time. Now all the edges on the steel are nice and crowned over, both on the outside and on the inside of the ring as well. So it's not gonna be too uncomfortable to wield. And the sheath is Kydex on this guy as well. It actually comes with its own attachment hardware here, but it's not gonna be conducive to use in a pocket. So you throw an ULTICLIP on there, or maybe that Mummert clip. It might fit kind of weird on for this particular sheath side or sheath shape. Actually, you'd be wanting to put it on that side for a standard karambit draw anyway, and you're gonna be able to access that blade in a flash when you need it. Now, in addition to, of course, your self-defense needs, people actually, I think, overlook the hawkbill shape for daily utility because it is kind of aggressive, a little less conventional. But these are actually a really good shape. Flip your grip around, Really good for tearing through cardboard, since the tip it's almost impossible for this tip to slip out of your cut. And it's also really good for getting under pallet straps or zip ties and opening things up that way. Definitely don't overlook a hawkbill for your utility needs. All right, for another tactical option, we've got another larger knife here that kind of stretches the bounds of pocket capability, but this is the Dawson Knives Serengeti, and this comes in about $195 right now. For that, you've got a 3V drop point blade, about 3¼ inches, and the G10 handle, and in-hand comfort is slightly secondary to the retention in this. Not that it's uncomfortable, but you've got a lot of tread patterning, texturing here going on, so you've got a solid grip, and the blade itself is angled down a little bit to present itself better in certain tactical grips. Gets more of the angle you might want for this type of blade. Now the sheaths on these guys are pocket ready right out of the box. No extra hardware needed. They actually include the pocket retention in this is provided by the Kydex itself. As you can see, they've looped it over here behind itself to give you a little pocket flap essentially. So that's going to slide right in very nicely. Fair bit of handle sticks up, sure, but you can access it really easily. Just push off with your thumb and you'll be able to pull that blade no problem. Now, perhaps even more than that karambit, you can certainly see the daily utility of this guy, even more so. Classic blade shape. You've got a nice tough steel with that 3V. And that brings me to another point versus in the fixed versus folders argument. When it comes to outright strength on some of these knives that, while they're not huge, they're going to be built up pretty nicely, you might feel more confident putting it to those heavier tasks than a folding knife. Now for the kind of the ultimate indiscretion for a self-defense oriented pocket fixed blade, it's a slightly tongue-in-cheek recommendation, but check out the Cold Steel Urban Pal. And I say tongue-in-cheek not because it's not a bad knife, it certainly is, and it's very affordable too at about 19 bucks. You got that nice serrated edge there for some kind of aggressive cuts, even though I'm more of a plain edge guy myself. It does come with a nice Securex sheath there, as you can see. The rivets on it are a little bit small, but you probably could fit a tech lock on there or an ULTICLIP on there if you like for standard pocket draw. But you can actually fit this, especially take that split ring off, throw that right in the fifth pocket of your jeans. I know we talked about fifth pocket folders a little while ago. That's a little fifth pocket fixed blade, believe it or not. And you've got a decent bit of utility there beyond the self-defense. It's still a useful blade shape. I like to say that about these very much. Nice for opening boxes or letters, just smaller daily utility sorts of needs. You got about 1½ inches there to work with, so not a ton, but just enough, and plenty of grip thanks to the push dagger type design and those nice grippy handles. For a more utility-minded blade in that kind of same size range, we've got the CRKT Scribe, which when it's closed up like that, looks like just an extra long USB stick essentially, with a pocket clip built in to the actual handle of the knife in this case. You can clip that into your pocket no problem, pull it out, take the sheath off, and then you got that nice blade to work with and without taking up a lot of space at all. It's about 1¾ inch long. Nice stonewash finish on it too. It's a 5CR stainless, so it's not going to hold an edge forever, but it is going to be pretty stainless and very easy to maintain. It's a pretty cool design. That's pretty much what I can say about it. Like, it may not have the fanciest materials, but I really enjoy this. What's nice about this lid too is you can actually put it there on the back as well. It's not going to be, you don't want to really be bearing down on it, but you do get a little more handle length there to work with in certain grips. You're going to find that pretty handy, I think. Just remember that you don't have a sheath in your pocket like the rest of these. Make sure to take it off the back and put it on the right way there, and you can stash that. Now these would certainly work as a keychain knife as well, but man, as a pocket fixed blade, doesn't take up a lot of room side to side, super thin. It's just going to be a very easy fixed blade to carry. All right, now we're going to get into a couple knives that have sheaths that have clips built in. It's not like the Berus there at the beginning where it kind of has its own clip built in, but it is an ULTICLIP. These next couple of options have their own bespoke clips on it. And the first knife is the Hoback Goliath. Kind of a funny name for a small pocketable fixed blade, but there you go. These start at about $165. This particular Jade G10 version coming in at $185 right now. A lot of blade length to work with on these guys for a pocket fixed blade. 3½ inches of 20 CV steel, so a lot of edge and a lot of edge retention to work with as well. Handle length takes a little bit of a back seat in this case. I can kind of get, it's more of a 3-finger grip for me. Feels pretty decent. As far as heavier gorilla grips, it might not be the best thing, but for detail cuts, you've got a lot going on here. Very easy and nimble to manage. The sheath here comes with a Kydex number, clips in nicely, and there you can see the nice pocket clip that's screwed directly into that piece. Holds it nice and deep. It's kind of like a deep carry pocket clip for your sheath. Gonna make a very good option. And one of the things you get for the extra money that this knife costs, the attention to detail here is really high. You've got really precise construction, and something I always appreciate, especially on smaller EDC items, the edge itself is very thin. It's got a very fine and thin edge so that it's really gonna get out of its own way when you're going to cut. Even though this has a little bit of a, not the thinnest geometry overall, the blade perhaps could have been a little bit thinner if that's what they were going for, but when you combine it with that super thin edge, this is gonna be a rock solid performer. Now we're gonna swing back down to the budget side of things again with another sheath with its own pocket clip built in, the SOG Instinct and Mini Instinct. This one coming in about 30 bucks right now. As you can see, you've got that pocket clip right there built into the standard sheath. They actually supply a ball chain on this as well, so you could carry this neck fashion, but I think pocket carry is definitely the way to go with this guy. And you can actually loosen the screw in there. You could tilt this pocket clip a little bit if you want to hold it at a slightly different angle. It's going to work really nicely. The knife itself kind of takes the opposite approach than the Hoback. They give you a little bit more handle to grab onto. It's not actually any longer than that Hoback, but you've got some pretty prominent finger grooves here and a little tab sticking out at the back. So if you do need to put it to a larger or kind of more gorilla grip type of cut, there's a little bit more there to grab onto, but the blade itself is a bit shorter. This guy comes in about 1.9, but the standard size, or the larger size, comes in about 2.3 inches. Otherwise, they're pretty much the same in terms of profile. Blade steel on this guy, 5CR, kind of like that CRKT we just looked at. It's got a pretty decent shape going on as well. The tip is going to be very usable on this design because of the point to where it drops. Just gonna be another really nice utility knife for a really nice price in this case. Now, all these knives are certainly nice, but if kind of the Kydex thing isn't your thing, I can understand that. It certainly has a more plasticky in nature feel. There are some leather sheath options out there, including the very newly released MKM Mikro. And these guys start, let's see, actually about 70 bucks for the skeletonized version, a little bit more for the versions that come with these handle scales. You can get micarta or carbon fiber for a further upgrade. And just like that Viper from the beginning, this is an Italian-made knife with sort of a drop point, kind of clip pointy profile, and a modified sheep's foot as well. Both really nice. I think the clip point with the carbon fiber especially makes a really nice gentleman's pocket fixed blade. But for a more utility-driven design, I think the sheep's foot puts the tip in a little bit more of a usable spot for a knife this size. It just seems a little bit more natural, at least when it's in my hands. The grip on it is actually pretty nice for only a 2.5 finger grip. It's not quite it doesn't pass the gorilla grip test, but it does feel fairly secure, more secure than I would have thought for its size, definitely. There's enough girth there thanks to that micarta and slightly thicker blade stock in this case. So this isn't like a laser type of scalpel. It's got a little bit more durability to it, but all the edges are crowned on this guy as well. Nice and comfortable. The real treat with this guy though is the sheath. They're leather, as you can see there, and there's actually a magnet in there, which I'll get to in a second. And they work in either orientation. You can stick it in either way with either of the blade shapes, and you can carry it in 2 different ways. If you put the knife in there and wrap the sheath or wrap the strap around the front, you've got a magnetic retention point there. Works really nicely as a neck knife. But if you were to stick it in the opposite way, kind of rotate it around there and flip the flap around the other side, it becomes a little bit of a magnetic retention loop around the hem of your pocket, holding that knife handle up right above your pocket line. Very easy to hold on to, and a bit of a classier package when it comes to that leather. There's just something about these designs. These are Jesper Vakne's designs, by the way. There's just something about when Vox and Italy team up on a knife, you get some good results. I mean, you got a really cool looking shape, good materials, M390 steel on these bad boys. What's not to love? Now, the pocket fixed blade genre has actually been really near and dear to my heart for quite a while. It's good that we're seeing more options out there nowadays than we used to, and this is only a segment that I think is going to keep growing. But to the point that this is something I really love, I have actually designed my own. This is the Nordsmith Skipjack, and they have been kind of sporadically available, especially this last year due to COVID. But this is kind of my take on the pocket fixed blade. When I started Nordsmith, one of the first questions I always get was, you gonna make a pocket knife? So this was kind of my tongue-in-cheek answer to that. And the sheath on these guys is a nice, classy leather sheath made by JRE Industries for me. This one's a little beat up because I've carried this one quite a bit. You got that nice pocket clip there on the side. And for at least my pockets, this kind of fills it up. This is just about maxed out for what you can carry in there without having too much sticking out the top. But I'm a big fan of this design. But the name of this knife actually has some meaning. Called it kind of the Skipjack, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, as in skip the jackknife and put a fixed blade in your pocket. Also, it's the state boat of Maryland where I kind of hail from, so there's some good connections there. As far as the blade, it's about 3 inches long, nice and thin, 3/32 with a full flat grind. It's got a good slicing profile and AEBL steel on this one, which is one of the first production runs, which is why it's got these really cool jigged bone handles in kind of the signature Nordsmith colors of green with the yellow liners right there. The bone itself against that yellow, I think, looks absolutely awesome. Now, I know I mentioned my own hand size a lot in these videos because I try to give a kind of a reference to the folks out there. This handle works with a lot of different hand sizes out there. I've had people who have larger and smaller hands be able to use this very well, but it's my design. I kind of selfishly designed it to fit my hands perfectly. As such, you've got the main grip has 3 fingers, and the 4th finger, the pinky, catches this kick up towards the pommel there. And that actually gives you a really nice point for fine control. When you're doing some of that tip work, the pinky can actually do a lot if the handle lets it. And that's why this is shaped exactly like that. You can kind of grab that with your pinky, orient the tip, do some nice stuff with that. And on top of that, this knife really fulfills the Gorilla Grip test for me. Is it any surprise that this knife does everything I want it to? Probably shouldn't be because I designed it. And we are hoping to have more of these soon. But I didn't want to put off this video any longer. I was getting kind of antsy to share it with you guys. So I hope you liked it. And that's all we've got for today. If you want a chance to get your hands on any of these knives, we'll leave links in the description as always. But make sure to let me know your favorites down there in the comments. And maybe there's a pocket fixed blade I didn't mention here that you like. Make sure to let us know about those as well. While you're over there at the KnifeCenter, make sure you sign up for our Knife Rewards program too. Because if you're going to spend your money on one of these EDC pocket fixed blades, you might as well earn some free money to spend on your next one. I'm David C. Anderson from the KnifeCenter signing off. See you next time.